I wanted tonight to be a little different because one, as a water sign and as a water sign that has a water placement that's directly involved in this full moon, this week has been a little rough. Besides physical sickness, there's just, I am the same thing that shut me down in the eclipse in October, which that's what we're feeling right now. Or I think it might have been the November 8th eclipse. We are now at that 6-month period where anything that would have come up, anything that would have surfaced for us to examine, maybe that we were shutting down, things that we became painfully aware of in our lives that we were no longer able to ignore, those maybe came up and took us for a loop back in early November. And that's going to be different for everyone. And then this eclipse season between the two eclipses has been something. In talking to clients, in talking to Connie Joe, in talking to my other metaphysical friends and practitioners, everyone's feeling it. And it's a combination of the Mercury retrograde in Taurus. And Connie Joe sent out a brilliant newsletter about the energies around this. One, because Mercury likes to be fast. It wants to be in Gemini, wants to move. So already in Taurus regularly, Mercury in Taurus sometimes can feel a little painful, a little slow, a little like things are harder to get done. And what I don't like the word lazy, I feel like that is a weaponized social construct terminology. I don't like it. So I always say when we get into that like somewhat depressive, procrastinatory mode. And I don't know about anybody else, but when I read Connie Joe's newsletter before it was sent out, I said to her that yes, all of this, because even if you're not sure which direction to take, what if you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing and you're just not doing it? And I want to normalize this kind of, it won't happen for every full moon. It won't happen for every Mercury retrograde. But when we shame ourselves, when we use that word lazy, when we say like, I'm not being productive, this is not a time for judgment and shame on yourself when you don't feel motivated. This is a time for self-care. And it's when it's the hardest to do. Let's have a real conversation. It's when it's hardest to get in the shower, in the bath, make your bed, make yourself the healthy food, not skip breakfast, forget your supplements, forget your skincare or anything. It's when it's hardest to do that it's the most important. And sometimes we just need the rest. Mercury in retrograde and this time between eclipses has asked us to slow down and examine and plan. Not do, but plan. So I just wanna say that I don't want anyone to think of themselves as lazy. If that's how they were feeling, and maybe not everyone felt that way. But I want to give you all a big hug because I know I felt it. I not only was like, universe does that to me when I won't slow down and I won't feel things because I'm too busy and I'm afraid if I feel everything at once, I'll shut down. So I ended up really sick with a fever and shut down. And as a result of just being in my bed and not able to do much but drift in and out of sleep and think, I, of course, had big moments of grieving things that have left my life, have are no longer here. Epiphanies of what my role is and when I feel lovable and what I have done to make sure that I feel lovable or acceptable. And it was rough. You know, I can do this for a living. I can do this all day, like Captain America says. It doesn't mean healers are not immune to the healing. Healers are not immune to crash and feeling non-functional and not feeling okay and feeling like today I'll get in the shower. Today I'll get out of bed. Today, like, that would be dishonest. I always say, if you find a healer or a practitioner that says to you, you know, I've got this all figured out, stick with me, I've mastered life, run. Because it's not, we can be spiritual, we can be gifted, we can even be highly favored, but we're still having a human experience. So I wanted to make sure that tonight, the candles, the softer lighting, my very intentional, I want to say, I really am just leaning into the nurturing part of me. But I want to be intentional in being a space for everyone tonight and everyone that I really appreciate the replay viewers, that it just feels safe to be fragile, to be vulnerable, to feel empowered. Whatever it is that you're feeling, don't ever let anybody tell you because an astrological event is happening that you have to feel this way and there's something wrong. Some people might feel energized depending on where their Mars sign is. Some people might feel completely broken down and non-functioning. Everyone's going to feel different. So this Friday night is going to be speaking to that part of us that just needs a hug and just needs to slow down. Tonight's not the night for going out. It's not that I would not be going out someplace where I have to be on the road where other people are on the road and drinking because it's Cinco de Mayo, not with Mercury in retrograde. It's not a terrifying eclipse, but it is conjunct Uranus. And so if you're just tuning in, my God, if you're in your car, tonight's not the night to be trying to like listen or look at the screen and drive at the same time. Please be careful. I love you all so much. And so just be safe tonight. This eclipse is at 14 degrees and 58 minutes. So really close to 15 degrees. Some people are calling it 15 degrees of, it's a full moon and it's a lunar eclipse in Scorpio, opposed by the sun. That's what makes a full moon, at the same degree in Taurus. That sun in Taurus is conjunct an 18-degree Uranus. What's more is that all of that is squaring Black Lilith at 13 degrees in Leo. So this is things you didn't expect to hit you. And trust and believe a lot of this stuff, the closing out, full moons are for closing, for shedding. Scorpio full moons are usually things that we weren't looking at. It's secrets. It's deep. Even secrets from ourselves, you know, and we're only as unwell as our secrets, as they say. So it's evoking Uranus, something you can't see, something I can't even predict for you, right? If we're looking at mundane astrology and the collective events, that's a little bit easier to predict. But if we are looking at each other's charts, that Uranus is going to be in a different house for everyone. And then it's going to be talking to different placements in your chart differently. So We don't know where the unexpected will come from. But what we know is squaring energy challenges us to rise to an occasion. And so when Black Lilith is invoked and activated in a square to this lunar eclipse full moon in Scorpio, it is meant to bring in that divine power in us. The power that is not looking for anyone's permission for you to own, wield, use. That is your divine power. It's there the whole time. It is just very Wizard of Oz. You had the power the whole time, right? But our Black Lilith is what sometimes can make us feel ostracized. So it's really put there as the thing that used to make us feel powerless, to work into one of our superpowers, quite like Chiron. And so, yeah, so I see somebody saying you're 16-degree sun and a 15-degree Scorpio rising. Yeah, so this full moon is happening right on your rising sign, and it's squaring your sun. And Black Lilith, that means also you have a 13-degree, 3-degree conjunction to Black Lilith right now on your sun. So people you don't expect, like E2 Brutus, like people you don't expect, because Scorpio can also be about betrayal, right? It's about loyalty, trust, betrayal. From unexpected places and places you don't want to see. You know that person that you identify with as being a part of your life, your rock, you're this, you're that, right? Sometimes we see hints of that person when their mask is not on, or things we go, oh, well, that's just part of the package. And right, we want to be fully accepted for all of our parts of our packages. So we have empathy, we make room, we have understanding, and you don't pick up the rock. You don't look underneath the rock. You don't see what's really lying underneath, because you know that you cannot unsee it. Things like that can be happening in our lives right now. And so it is for your highest good, right? Whatever sheds is to make room for whatever's coming in. And this is the last full moon in Scorpio that you will see for another 9 years. Not the last full moon, but the last eclipse, that you will see in Scorpio for 9 years. So it won't feel like this again. And every time there's a Mercury retrograde, it's not always in Taurus. It's just a lot happening in one area of our charts again and again. Uranus has been in Taurus for a while. We've been having eclipses and the South Node in Scorpio for a while. This is like the final on what did you learn in the last year and a half? What were you able to deep down look at? Secrets from others and secrets that we keep from ourselves. Things we don't want to look at. And picking up the rock, looking underneath, and sitting with it. And it's hard not to judge ourselves and judge others. When we look underneath that rock, just remember that it is what it is. And the more that we judge others, we can choose not to engage. But when we spend a lot of our time and energy on, how terrible that person is, or how they were duplicitous, or how they were disloyal, or how they were not trustworthy, or whatever their toxic behavior was, when we spend all of our energy on that, we stay in that energy. It is very much the pouring the poison and then drinking it yourself. So the other part of that is when we just spend the time examining the judgment of the other person, we invite more judgment, other people judging us and us judging ourselves, which is the bedfellow to shame. All the things that feel like they set you back in life, I promise you, shame is number one at the list. So when we judge others, we also hold shame for ourselves. We can just say they're not at a place. We can just say, this is somebody I can't, as much as it hurts and as much as this person has been a part of my identity. And I didn't see this coming. Instead of judging yourself for not seeing it coming, let's say that. And instead of judging them for whatever their trauma response is capable of right now or not, we want to just shed it. We can hold space for somebody to heal. We can hold space for a relationship to get back to a place where it's healthy. But you don't want to wait and you don't want to sit in it. There's a difference between holding space and holding resentment or waiting energy. I want to say hi to all the lovely people. I see the sisters, Heidi and Heather. I love that you're here, Heather. Hi, Juan, our wonderful Juan. He's like our greeter. I don't know what I would do with our chorus. Lee is here. Hi, Kate. Hi, Teresa. I say 20 times a day how much I love that lazy Susan, and I have your lover's card right here. I wanted to make sure as much of it that could get seen, but I'm actually planning to do things behind me so that I can get that hung up. Hi, Maricela and Shauna. Hi, Shauna. And the other Heather, Venus Energy. Hi, Dolly. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Annika. And I see Lioness. I feel like the romper room lady. And Anne. Hey, Gibbs. Hey, Shorty and Karen and Little John. Hi, Amber. I'm so excited that we have this many people here. Hey, James, long time no see. I love that we have the beautiful Danny. I love seeing, hey, Connie, not Connie Joe, another Connie. And hi, Odelia. I swear I struggle with that, but I'm determined to pronounce it right because it's a beautiful name. Okay, so Juan, sometimes I want to call you like but I don't want to call you a Walmart greeter. We almost had my dad go do that because like nobody could meet him and not love him, similar to you. And he was bored in his retirement, so we almost hey, alien. So we almost were like, hey, why don't you go do that? And then that ship sailed. So that's like the best part about Walmart. I don't know what the other best part of Walmart could possibly be. Hey, Chris. Thank you all for being here. Does anyone have any questions about this particular full moon? Do we all understand that like the new moon eclipse started cycles that we are now finishing, or the last full moon eclipse? Yeah, the new moon in Scorpio started cycles that this is finishing. And when we say started cycles, it doesn't mean you started a relationship, it's ending now 6 months later. We started a friendship, it's ending now 6 months later. It means something that came to your awareness that maybe knocked you down. For me, it was a little bit of grief. Not only I had so much to do after my mom died, I had so much to do after my dad died, which was 2017. That it's not like I didn't grieve, but there's other things that happens when parents die, and sometimes it affects siblings. Um, there were friendships, people, a lot changed in my life, and not all of it was I just rolled with the punches. It wasn't like intentionally moving from 4 states from 2017 to 2021. That was not part of the plan. Uh, so, you know, oh, good, I did say your name right. So, that, yeah, we can still feel the energies months from now. So I struggled in late October and November. November really shut me down with the idea of um, something had happened and I had to be really brave to do something and worry that I was going to give away the best of me and my generosity. And it was just going to get used. Because I, with my Virgo rising and other things, and this is why I talk about Virgo all the time, that service in exchange for love. Not just because it's just an automatic Virgo thing, but because it's almost feels like an insurance policy on making sure we are loved. Hi, Anastasia. Hi, TS. Um, so gonna get through this. When you feel like you've had lots of relationships that you realize at some point when you stop being completely useful the way they want you to be useful, you are less interacted with. You are less loved, more judged. The minute you start to have boundaries, that's not working for everyone because you're usually the one to say like, I got it, and you're not doing that anymore. But when it's like all the main characters in your story, or a lot of them, uh, it is a come to spirit moment. It is a get right with yourself. Um, and it's hard. So, whatever it was that came up for you in November, that you're like, understanding cycles of how you navigate relationships. What would you do for a Klondike bar? What do you do for your insurance policy to make sure that you feel loved and accepted by the people who matter most? What do you do? If it's a romantic exchange, do you make sure that you're saying things that make you attractive to them, what you think they need for you to be attractive? Do you risk not filling that space? You can be the bravest person. You can jump into a burning building, but you can stand up and speak your piece. You can uh, do public speaking, but the bravery to not fill the space that people expect you to fill so that you stay acceptable in a situation, that's a different kind of bravery, right? These are all the things that a Scorpio full moon will have you looking at, and an eclipse is going to bring truth, bring something to light, either within yourself or within a relationship. But also, if it's not about a particular person, it's for you to deep dive examine, as Scorpio asked you to do, and transform through understanding how you navigate what your cycles are, right? Maybe you caretake people. Maybe you caretake people so much because that was who you were as a kid. You didn't have a choice. Maybe you took care of your own parents. Very Capricornian, right? You took care of other siblings. And so now there can almost build resentment because you're caring for everyone. Still, it's a knee-jerk reaction. It's like oxygen, right? As a Cancer, we want to fix and nurture, and then we can feel unappreciated. Just looking at something simple as what part of that is maybe kind of unsolicited. When's the last time we took the temperature of the person that we're insisting being wonderful to, right? Whether that's nurturing or caretaking or what have you, or fixing. When's the last time, hey, Cole, wow, the gang really is all here. When's the last time you took the temperature in that situation to make sure that that's not seen as, I can't fix myself, I can't take care of myself, I don't know how to nurture myself. And then you feel unappreciated and they feel almost disrespected by your gush of caring, and everyone's unhappy. It can be that so that you can move forward with these great relationships and the main characters in your life, because you've now examined the cycle and the dichotomy in which you navigate these relationships based on trauma responses and childhood, right? Childhood, just automatic behavioral mods that are such a part of you that you haven't like re-examined them now. So whatever that is for you, and especially you'll know because you'll probably feel like it came up back in October, November, and it probably feels like it's a bottle wanting to pop, like when you shake champagne and it pops off, or anything that you would shake and it would explode. That's what this can feel like. Let's see. Do you think Scorpio 8th house energy eclipse could have an economic effect? Just curious. I think collectively we're going to see an economic issue. I mean, we're seeing it here. I know there are lots others that are not in the US. We are seeing it here. We've hit the debt ceiling. What's interesting about the 8th house is that's other people's money. And yes, it's debt, but it's also other people's money. So the reason that yes, for the 8th house, because your second 8th house can be financial for those of anyone having it. It doesn't matter whether the moon or the sun is in the second 8th house. That's a financial access. Hi, Nicole. And the other thing is that it's in Taurus. The sun is in Taurus and it's conjunct Uranus. I do think that we will see, it would be crazy to think we're not going to see some stuff happen collectively, financially, everywhere. But we already know that there's stuff going on in this country. If it is happening the full moon is happening in your 8th house, unless you have Saturn there, it's kind of more likely that you're going to find out that money is owed to you. Because an eclipse, once the eclipse has hit direct, that is going to be a revelation of a truth. And sometimes for some people, that's the approaching or applying energy of the transit. There's information, again, Scorpio's secrets, and what we keep deep down. When we talk about Scorpio holding cards close to the chest, and that Scorpio is fixed water, so you get 10%, just the tip on the surface. Hi, Jacqueline. And then the rest is hidden underwater, right? So when we have an eclipse in Scorpio, it's quite profound in some of the things that you might have as a revelation, a truth. So in that 8th house, you could find out there is something that is owed to you. Or depending on who the second house source could be representing in your life with Uranus there, it could be owed to you and it's going to be delayed because something unexpected happened, you know? It could be as easy as a delayed refund from your taxes. But also, I want to remind you all that Black Lilith is involved too. So there's some part of this that is meant to have you tap into that divine power. And often we see power is how much power do we have at work? Well, that depends on how much your boss gives you. How much power do you have in your family dynamic? That depends on how your parents favor you with your other siblings. How much power do we have in a relationship? Well, that depends on how healthy your partner is and whether power is a struggle between you two or it's an ease of reciprocity, right? This power has the power that you get from Black Lilith literally has zero to do with what you're going to get or have permissed by another person nor entity. This is the power that already exists within you that you find in your journey in life. So this is definitely meant to challenge you enough to tap into that power. Maybe something is going to be denied because somebody else is having a problem and you step into power. Where do you have Leo? You know, for those that have Leo in the third house, this is very much going to be about you speaking up. Okay. This moon is in your 8th house, 14 degrees, right? And Saturn too. Yeah, where is my money? So Saturn in the 8th house can be kind of funky as somebody who has it. The thing with Saturn in the 8th house is you also have to be careful that you're not depending on money that should come to you, that you don't spend money that you don't have in your hand yet. Yeah, there can be delay. The moon in the 8th house, that means that, you know, if the second house is yours and that's where the sun is conjunct Uranus, right? And we already know the second house ruled by Taurus is how you're resourced, your financials, your talents, your self-worth. It's very Venus ruled. So if the 8th house is where the money should be coming to you with that Uranus, yeah, there could, and with Mercury in a Venus ruled, financially tied sign in retrograde, yeah, there could be delays. Definitely don't spend any money that you don't have in your hand yet. Scorpio moon in the 11th house. I mean, that's your 11th and your 5th house access. That's with a Scorpio full moon. That can be about friendships. It also can be about long-term plans and having to readjust them because things that you thought you were taking with you into your long-term plans, you're not now. And I promise you, whatever that thing was that you're learning now, universe is showing you that you are indeed not going to take it with you. It's fine because it's something that would have slowed you down moving forward. Okay, let's look at this. You have Black Moon Lilith in Taurus. It's with the South Node. You wonder where that means. Okay, so that's at what, 4? We're at 4 degrees right now with the... No. It would have to be with the North. Okay, so let me understand this, Shorty. Is Your Black Moon in Taurus, is it with your personal South Node in Taurus? Because the North Node is in Taurus. So I'm trying to figure out what degree. And if your Black Moon Lilith is in Taurus and it's conjunct your South Node in your last life, you were probably very comfortable with the position of power and stability. Stability was probably something you worried about in the beginning of your last life, and then mastered it, and powerful, and no one was knocking that brick. You were somebody who built a brick house of power, and understood by the end of your last life that no one could knock that down because you built it, and if it got damaged, you'd build it again. But without degrees, I can't tell you what it means for this moon. Yeah. So, and one day I think we'll just do a question and answer of astrology. That it will probably be, it could be Connie, Joe, and I both, but might just be me. We have so much that we want to do on Sundays, and I still have that class to do. And unfortunately, with her Wi-Fi issues and the storm last weekend, we didn't get to do the last part even of our progress moon. So now we're so backed up. It may be a while before we got to an astrology Skywalker evolutionary video or live. Yeah. For those people that this is happening in their 12th house, welcome to the next evolution of your spiritual gifts, for sure. I think that we are going to yeah, you don't feel security in the right, because the South, if this your South Node is in Taurus, that makes perfect sense. So you came to learn how the security is within exploration of you, and not without, not, I think you had external environmental security in your last lifetime, and now you're meant to feel the security within, despite what your environmental. It doesn't mean you won't ever have stability, but your stability will always come from knowing yourself in such an intimate, deep way that can't be produced in a tangible fashion. But that's how you gain stability in this lifetime. Let's see. The amazing Heather, what is Black Moon Lilith in Libra at 24 degrees. So if it's in Libra at 24 degrees, what's very interesting is that you are going to, and we might have touched on this the last time we met, but when the South Node on July 18th, the nodal axis is going to switch, and that South Node is going to move in 29 degrees of Libra. So within a few months, that South Node is going to be on your Black Moon Lilith, and you will be tested about what you let shake that divine power that no one has to give you permission for. Oh, that's so lovely, Cole. Yes, Jacqueline, no driving, not tonight. Be extra careful with Mercury in retrograde. No driving and YouTubing tonight. I'm so glad you feel that way, TS. Okay. Aw, good. Good. Okay, so I think we are ready to Black Moon Lilith and Aquarius in the 11th house. Depending on what degree that is, Venus energy, that would also be, so you would have the Black Moon Lilith, if it's anywhere around 13 degrees, especially 3 degrees on either side. So 10 degrees, it would still be talking to this full moon, or, 17 degrees even, in Aquarius, if it's in that 7 degree orb, then it's also going to be opposing the transiting Black Lilith and also squaring. So you would have a double Black Lilith square. That is a huge nod from universe, that you are really meant to tap into your power and understand that's not anything somebody can take from you. Not with all the, somebody takes your power. It's not usually, you're so stupid, you don't know what you're doing, you're terrible at this, you're a bad person. It's usually like, oh, you'll get good eventually. Make no mistake, the people that try to steal your power normally have access to know what your weak spots are. That's why for most of us in this room, strangers on the internet really can't ruffle our feathers too much. They don't know us. There's that saying, unless you're feeding me or doing any of the F's for me, I don't care about your opinion. If you're just going to be insulting, I'm not going to go home and cry. It's when it comes kind of passive aggressively in the guise of advice or caring or cheering you on, but always with a backhanded compliment. Those are the people to watch that try to kind of undermine what isn't anyone else's to take away from you. Okay. If I am up to doing questions, again, this week has been rough. If I feel like I can answer questions, like card pulls at the end, I will. But let's get started, and we are going to take, Heather, I don't know if you've been here for one of these, but I have my incredible Into the Woods, which when I got this, I had not seen another practitioner use it. I had not seen it anywhere. I just saw it and felt like I had to have it. So this has now become a community favorite. That's great. 777 subscribers. When I get to 1,000, I'm having my Zoom block party, which will be free. I doubt 1,000 people will want to be there, but especially I want to make sure all the OGs get an invite, and we will have fun. And so, but anyway, we're going to pull one of these for each sign, because I started to say right when I opened up this live, it didn't feel fair to tap into people's energy when people are feeling vulnerable. It didn't feel fair to tap into somebody's energy this week, or what somebody else was thinking about them, or what the dichotomy or energetic ties might be between two people, because I don't think anyone's feeling like themselves right now. I think we have a very stripped down version, and we have Mercury in retrograde. So instead, I felt like, let's see what our inner child needs to hear, because this full moon is not for you to make full moon water. This full moon is not for you to wish ill on anyone. A full moon, lunar eclipse in Scorpio, opposing the sun in Taurus, conjunct Uranus, and squaring Black Lilith, is going to be all of the shedding energy that you need. You probably don't need to do any extra intentions to get anyone out of your life. Astrologically, universe is quite literally taking the garbage out for all of us, including the garbage we keep within ourselves and our own opinions, of ourselves. So universe is, it's like whenever you do a cleanse of any type, the first couple of days are just rough, and so we're all kind of being cleansed in a good way, for the stuff we no longer need to carry. So we're going to do this, and it's just going to be a very warm, hopefully you all feel the warmth, and you take a deep breath and you ask your inner child and your higher self to come sit on either side of you. And we're going to take a card for each sign from the Into the Lonely Woods tonight. And I'm just going to read to you. And when I read to you, I want the energy to feel like you're getting out of the tub and mom's wrapping a big towel around you when you were little. And when I read to you, it is quite literally an inner child exercise, the way that we would be read to when we were young. It is that moment that somebody is taking the extra time to enrich your life, to soothe you, to engage with you, to help you grow your interests, your brain. So something as simple as somebody reading to you can be a really poignant and powerful inner child healing moment. They don't all have to be catastrophic. Every inner child moment that you have when you heal something does not mean you need to take your guts and put them out on the table, something that you almost feel like you cannot recover from. There can just be little moments where you say hi, and you understand that you're traveling this life together. So with your inner child, quite frankly. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. And I want to encourage everyone to do whatever it is that feels like self-care to you. Last night, I took a long bath. Today, I actually put makeup on. My hair looks a little greasy because I have leave-in conditioner. It's up in a ponytail. I've been trying to today really just be mindful, and not beat myself up because I'm really behind on emails and everything else because I was so sick. We are also going to give away a reading at the end. I think I'm just going to give away half an hour because if you know, you know. But that 15-minute thing, that's a joke. I suck at doing a 15-minute reading. It's like it's not possible for me. So we're just going to call it what it is, and I'm going to give away half an hour reading, which will probably be 40 minutes. I have flaws. I try not to make denial one of them. Okay, with that being said, settle in, get yourself a snack or a drink. You can apply any card that feels like it's meant to apply to you. You can apply it to any house, any placement. This is not about hardcore, astro tarot where it has to be for your astrological placements. This is to whatever speaks to that part of you that you need to just be kind to, that you need to understand, that you need to reintroduce yourself to, that you need to let go of. Okay. I don't know what's going on in the chat, but I just read a comment that says, I've got mice. So I love how you all love each other. It really is like a virtual cheers. And, only in the good ways. Juan is norm. I said what I said. Tell me that y'all don't get in the room and go, Juan. Where everybody knows your name. Yeah. I agree, Alien, with the solar flares and the solar storms. I actually just, I always have a spray bottle. Here's a little one. It's distilled water, a couple of drops of lavender oil, sometimes lemongrass, and colloidal silver in the appropriate amounts. And now I have incorporated colloidal copper into that too, because we are electromagnetic beings. You're Heidi, you are not Carla. If anyone's Carla, I'm Carla. My Aries moon. Yeah, absolutely cool. Whatever resonates. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to invite you all to take a deep breath with me. And whenever you exhale longer than your inhale, that is going to help regulate and bring your parasympathetic nervous system, or bring your nervous system back into parasympathetic mode, which is where you want it to be. So I'm going to ask you all to inhale for 5. I usually only do this in small groups and sessions, but we're going to try it on a big scale. So we're going to inhale for 5 seconds through the nose, 4, 5, hold that breath for 5 seconds, 4, 5, and we're going to exhale for 7. 2 more seconds than we used to inhale, and 2 more seconds than we did to hold. And we're going to do it one more time now that everybody knows what they're doing. It's in through the nose. And if you're home and no one's listening, or people are listening and you just don't care, let that exhale be audible, like the Grinch doing yoga. Ooh. Let it be a real true release. So one more time, let's all connect our energies. Think about a white light source that's kind of like shining down like a spotlight into each of our homes. We're all connected. That's what it's like for me every time. So we're going to breathe in for 5, 4, 5, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to exhale for 7. Wiggle those shoulders, release your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Should feel a little relaxed now. I lost 8 people. What is she doing? It's okay. It's all right. For Aries, I'm going to put these on so that I can tell you what it says. TS is such a sweetheart. An alien while being a complete wise ass. Also a sweetheart. Don't tell him I told you. See, there's your eclipse moment. There's the secret. Revelations. Okay. We got, for Aries, first house placements, and for anyone that this resonates for. "44. There is one who watches over you." This is for Aries. And I think this is so beautiful before I read this card, because Aries needs no one to defend them, but needs to know that someone would defend them. That's also for first house placements. "The one who watches over you is compassionate and sage. They often come to you in subtle ways, in the wise shape of a tree, in the luster of sunlit clouds, in the song of water running over rocks. To know you have this guardian is to understand that although there is loneliness, you are never alone. This watcher is linked to the path of your soul from your first breath to your last, and they will be with you in the great in-between in your lifetimes. The one who watches over you knows the sacred quest of your soul, and when it feels like you have lost your way, they will remind you of your purpose. Ooh, first one in and already. That's really important. I'm going to take them actually aside so that we don't reuse them. That's really important for Aries because, again, Aries needs no one to step in front, hi Venus cloud, to defend them, but they need to know somebody's willing to defend them, fight for them. They don't really need it, but they need to know that somebody would. That's safety. The bravery of Aries, which is sometimes misinterpreted as pushy, blunt, bossy, selfish, me, first, is survivor mode. You are watching a trauma response. And it's normally because they had to create their own safety in childhood. They had to be brave. And so it means the world to them, although they don't need it, to know that you would. Let's go to, we're going to do the regular signs. So now we're on Taurus. And I am going to repeat, I'm going to give away a reading at the end, a half an hour reading. If I feel okay to answer one or two questions, I certainly will. Okay. Oof. Taurus, this is for any Taurus placements, Taurus rising, also for second house placements, and for anyone that this resonates for. Don't know that I've read this one yet. Love forgives distance. There is a constancy to true companionship. Without contact, whether physical or words, for a time, some friendships and connections wither. Others remain as bright as they were the last time you saw each other. Some friendships withstand distance, time apart, and even enforced separations. We set our course, and our paths may divert and part, but in time they will converge again, joining as seamlessly as two rivers, flowing into one, then parting again. Let the moments of true connection flow, and know those who truly love you will simply reach out their hand and open their arms, or even dance within the space only your two energies combined can create when the time to be together comes again. Wow. Taurus, right now, Venus is in your sign. Hi, Adva. You also have Uranus in your sign. You have Mercury in your sign. There's a lot going on right now. And you have the North Node kind of drifting, on its way out. I want to say that I feel like with this Mercury retrograde, you may hear from people who want your attention, but don't, whether they have the intention on following through and being worthy of that Taurus cupcake and a hug love. They may not be able to fully execute what they start with their words right now. But then there'll be a second person that comes through that you have not heard from a while, or there's been some kind of disconnected connection. It feels like the first one is a test, and The second person that comes through, I don't think that you'll expect to hear from them, but you will, and it'll feel like a sentence that finally got finished again. Let's see what we get for Geminis. How are my lovely Geminis and Gemini placements? Venus will be next into Gemini. Do we still have Lee in the room? Are you doing timestamps? So funny, this card wanted to come out for Taurus, but now it just came out for... Oh, I love this one. Okay. Now, I was just talking about Taurus the other night to a friend. And what I was saying is sometimes people think, well, like, I never know what side of a Taurus I'm going to get. That, again, is a childhood trauma response of feeling like they needed to behave or be the version of them that was acceptable, and it's part of their survival, right? And so y'all been through it with that long Gemini and Mars. People with Gemini, especially Gemini moons, right? So I'm so happy to see this card for you. Do not hide your light. What is the light we hold within? The love we have, the fullness of our dreams, the urge for joy that we shackle till we give ourselves limits that make us feel binded to the truth of all that we are. The light within you is longing to be freed. It will not vanish, be stolen, or shrivel if you take it from its hidden place. Bring it forth and let the light within you lead. Know that the sense of being the only person with this strange shining within will be replaced in time with the knowledge that your light helps us all escape our prisons, that your light illuminates the darkness of the lonesome path. The world needs your light. It's so perfect for Gemini, because the need to feel safe within just who you are and not show the mask of what you think is acceptable to each individual, that stems from childhood, and it's so important that you understand. I just said this to my daughter. We're all mirrors. Everybody that comes in our lives are a mirror. And sometimes we have reactions to people where we trauma bond, because we can see in that reflection the things that also hurt us. There's an understanding without words. There's connection without a lot of conversation. Sometimes you feel connected to somebody and feel like, how can I feel this strongly about somebody I haven't even seen in person yet? Just in conversation, there's this vibration of understanding and knowing that's often comes from trauma bonding and souls connecting. But when we see, when someone else sees in us the duality, for all of my beautiful Geminis, when someone else wants to not be so conventional, wants to feel like there's more variety within them, they can often feel resentful towards Gemini stepping into the different parts of them so easily, so fluidly. And they form a dislike of that person, of that energy. Well, I never know what I'm going to get. Often when we have a resistance to that, that's a great time to look within. We were watching a show and there was somebody that was just, in the beginning, it seemed like they were obnoxiously perfect, that they were masking. Physically, they looked perfect. Everything they were doing was perfect. It was like, ugh, can't stand them. And as you come to watch them, you realize they're quite genuine and they're quite lovely. And so I took that moment to examine where I aligned with a different character because they were sloppy, a little overweight and not perfect looking. And they were different. They marched to the beat of their own drummer. I identified the misfit of island toys, the misfit, right? The island of misfit toys in me saw and recognized and trauma bonded with the other person. And that made me form an instant snap opinion and judgment on Mr. Perfect that he had to be a bad person. And guess what? He wasn't. It was what I cannot see in the mirror that I saw in that other person that made me want to put up the resistance and not like them. And I feel like that is something that happens with Geminis a lot. People decide that variety, that duality, that creativity, the choices that they're able to flow in and out of feels like something they're not capable of, and it's an instant resistance. And then Gemini tends to carry that from childhood, feeling like maybe not the most favorite child or the screw up child or what have you. And whether they realize it, they end up masking. Even if they're a quite genuine person, they might mask a little just to avoid what other people might see in them that they don't have in themselves. Gemini has some really rare personality traits. And not all Geminis are the best people in the world. And certainly not all Geminis are two-faced and untrustable. And, every sign is capable of good and bad and masking. We kind of give Gemini the most shit for it, though. All right, we are on to Cancer. And I would love for you all to, even if you dip out of here and maybe go on last Friday's thing and comment, that would work. I need a different night to do the class, and it'll be recorded also. So you won't be able to interact with me or ask questions directly in the moment, but you can. I was thinking maybe a Saturday morning before everybody's out and about might work, and Europe will be awake. The other hemisphere could be awake. I was thinking like 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday or 11 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday may work. 11:30, because that's still decent time on the other side, and it's not the butt crack of dawn for the Pacific time zone. Let me know all how you feel about that. But just don't say it here in the chat because I won't see it because I'm channeling. Go dip out for a second into last week's and leave a comment. Okay. I have to ask, was anybody waiting, like thinking about, oh, I'm happy to do this tonight. Thank you for being so appreciative. Was anyone like waiting for this because you were hoping that I was answering questions or something? I felt the energy and my nose started running at like 6:30, I want to say. And I thought, oh, somebody's like, I need to ask Suzzy a question or something. And I'm not like making that about myself. I just felt it. So I want to know whether I was feeling it in real time or not. For Cancer, three, and yet the path grows lighter. All right, Cancer, 4th house placements. And that last one for Gemini was also great for third house, but also if it resonates, just take it. At this time, you have company, wise company who shares with you that the lightness of life is worth bringing back. Wow. All right, I'm going to get through this. That the heaviness you have cast away has led you to find the most elusive treasures. About you, the world is awakening, and it will be as if you were the first to see its beauty. Drink it in as the hummingbird sips up the nectar. Develop a taste for the sweetness of life. And now that you have traveled far in this life and will travel farther still, you have the energy, the stamina, and the skill to do this. You will receive blessings along the untraveled road you now follow. Your path is sweet for now. Enjoy every drop of nectar along the way. That is the sun after a storm. And I don't know about the other Cancers, but with Mars going on and that last Aries new moon and all of the Aries things squaring. We had 2 Aries new moons and that Libra the new moons, and the Libra full moon. We had 2 Aries new moons and a Libra full moon. And the one was like an eclipse, even though it was more like a full moon, even though it was a new moon because it was a solar eclipse. And talking to a bunch of whack aspects and making a square with Pluto hours later. So I don't know about any of the other Cancers, but coming out of heavy, hi Nikki, for sure. For sure. Hi Saturn Mer, Haley. Oh, you're not late. Everybody's exactly where they're supposed to be. I did not mean to put that back in. Let's do Leo. And again, I'm going to give away a reading at the end. I'm already feeling a little woozy, so I'm not sure if I'm going to get to questions, but if I don't, then next week I will do something midweek where I just answer questions. And I know that I just didn't get to the rest of the signs for May. Right? Or no, April. I didn't get to the rest of the signs. I'm a mess. We'll get there. All right, Leo. Fifth house placements, and forever this resonates. "12. Your truth is powerful. We are told so many lies. We are told that we must be with others and that they must love us for us to be worthy. So we bend and we twist the self to please others, showing only the glimpse of who we are in the shadows and light. We never fully step out into the light to see who is drawn to the form we most truly are. Start by unbending and deepening the love of your own ways. Start with untwisting and cease to speak the words that appease others and offend your soul. Then offer that level of care and desire for love to your own self. What would you become if you already loved who you are now? This is how we know spirit works, because each card seems to be really perfect for each sign. Wow. Have your own approval, Leo. You know, some of the signs that are really loyal, and that absolutely includes the fixed signs. I'm not going to say which one I think is actually like depending on where their Venus is and other things. There are certain sectors, and Connie Jo and I want to do the difference between the placements and why armchair astrology is wrong, because a rising sign of a rising placement in one sign can be completely different of the moon and the sun. Take Sag rising, Sag moon, Sag sun, three different people, completely different people. So we went off on conversation one day, and we have to do that. However, you know, finding that approval within yourself, and not letting your loyalty, which is so wonderful, also be the conduit to let people hurt you while you're trying to stay within that approval, so that you feel like your worth is maintenanced, is the word I want to use. Oh, TS, have a wonderful night. Thank you for watching. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Replay. Let's see what we have for this. Okay. This is for Virgos. How are my Virgos' 6th house, and for whomever it resonates? When all seems ended, we sculpt our lives until its shape is familiar, and we create patterns and stories and rituals around these shapes, all of which make up the beautiful moments of our days. We have the whole world, and yet sometimes that world, through no decision, comes to its ending. It is this moment for you. All that once was will soon be the past. What is no longer is what was, and that kingdom that was is no more. Yet you are still standing. In truth, every living being always is in flux and change. Beneath the surface, at a deep level, the world keeps moving through her cycles. To live is to change. Take a moment to look upon what once was and let it go. To give it honor, say goodbye, and then slowly stumble into the mysterious unknown, which holds that which will become the beautiful future. Virgos are hard on themselves. We know that. And there is a tie to self-value and as close to perfection as they can get. So working so hard to perfect, to master something, just to have it all change and start something new, can sometimes seem like a tantamount to failure for Virgo. But I will say this until the day I die. The sweet spot in Virgo is not the pursuit of perfection, because that does not exist. It is the peacefulness in what you produce at this very moment. And please know that it is probably far more excellent than you perceive it to be, and that you can be proud now. Don't wait to be proud. Don't wait to feel like you've made it. Don't wait to feel like you arrived, because life will change. The earth has its cycles. Life has its cycles. And if you are waiting to finally sit in a moment where everything is perfect, the world can change in a minute. And so I beg of you to be peaceful in exactly what you produce at this moment, because you're not going to get complacent. You have Virgo energy. You have sixth house energy. You never have to worry about doing things unethically. You never have to worry about doing things in a complacent manner. You'll always be in pursuit of self-mastery. But learn to breathe and be really peaceful in what you produce at this moment before you think it's mastered. Because I promise, before you think it's mastered, it's beyond what other people can produce or would care to. It's why you're the go-to for everyone to get stuff done. Because they know that you will put pressure on yourself to do it as perfectly as possible. But you are not here to be Mary Poppins, practically perfect in every way. You are here to learn that self-mastery grows and changes and is always okay wherever it is at this moment. And don't wait. Don't wait. And don't put that on yourselves. Yeah. I have lots of Virgo friends, probably because I have lots of Virgo energy. And I've dealt with people that I was very, very close with. And then I had a romantic relationship for a long time with somebody who was a Virgo. They were a Leo Virgo cusp, but had lots of Leo and lots of Virgo, and that being hard on themselves if you're in a relationship with very unhealthy, somebody has very unhealthy Virgo aspects, they can feel like you must be judging them. So they'll judge you first to take the pressure off of them, because they feel like they're failing all the time. And that's a childhood thing. And that's not actually how Virgos are. Just know, when you hear nitpicking or complaints from a Virgo, often whatever you're hearing is magnified 10 times to themselves internally. Okay, let's move on to Libra. And I'm just going to ask everybody to take a breath again. We're halfway through. Let's all reconnect. Deep breath in through the nose. We're going to breathe in for 5, hold for 5, and then exhale through the mouth audibly if possible for 7. Ready? 4, 5, hold. And exhale for 7. Let the shoulders go. Drop the tongue from the roof of your mouth. All right, let's get into Libra. Hi, Latanya. Hi, Moanne. Okay. Well, this looks pretty. A time to share. It's for Libra's 7th house placements and for whomever it just resonates. We may love the road we take alone, and on that lonely road we may find the truths of who we are. But until we allow another being to be close to us, we will not find out who we have become in relation to others. It is time to form bonds and relate and rediscover your own thoughts and feelings in response to those of another. There will be times when there are shared experiences, their pleasures amplified because they are mutual. This is the true joy of companionship and friendship. That sense the world is seen and experienced and even understood for a small moment by 2 or more people. All is sweeter because the deep longing to share with another is finally fulfilled. Well, Libra and 7th house energies. And of course, and I should have said that, but if I'm reading for Aries and you're having this full moon in the 1st house, it might extra resonate, and so on. If you're having the full moon in the 8th house, Scorpios might resonate. So this would also be amazing for anyone having, if you're a Taurus rising or Scorpio rising and you're having this full moon in your 7th house, 1st house axis. This could be an omen of someone to come to share what you have worked hard to build. And I love that for Libra. One, you got no satisfaction. When my kids were little and they would want something and the answer would be no, and they would be like, but Mom, we want it. And I would just very calmly say to them, Mick Jagger says you can't always get what you want. And I will never forget, they were little. This is my older 2. My little one wasn't even a glimmer in my eye yet. And one time my son, who's now hitting close to the 3-0 mark, was like, I hate Mick Jagger. They were little. They didn't know who he was. It was just some guy who basically, I was just like, Mick Jagger said you can't always get what you want. So until they realized, like, I hate Mick Jagger. He never lets us do anything. And I don't know why, but I got no satisfaction. Reminded me of that story. All right. Scorpios, how are my lovely Scorpios? Scorpio. It is all releasing. Saturn has moved out of square to your sign. This is the last eclipse that you will see for 9 years. The South Node is on its last legs. I believe it's at 4 degrees heading into 3, and by July it will be gone. And you will not see the South Node on your sign for another 18 years. So, I hope, my lovely Scorpios, you know how I love Scorpio. I hope that just be kind to yourself, be gentle, get in a tub, lots of self-care. Wrap yourself up with a blanket, make yourself a warm tea tonight. If you can, stay home. Do not beat yourself up for anything. That's an order. You don't want me to come kick your ass, Scorpio. I know you're Scorpio. but I'm a formidable opponent. Don't make me come kick your ass. Just be lovely and gentle and eat something that you love. Watch something that makes you happy. You know, like Clockwork Orange. Scorpio. If you get it, you get it. Just get through. And then let universe take the trash out for you. Okay. Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. I used to say, if you can't build the wall and are egging on child separation, then no tequila and tacos for you. Which I'm sure is probably no one in this room right now. But I forgot to have tacos today. But we make Spanish food in this house all the time, so. Okay. For Scorpio. Oh boy. Okay, so this says gifts of the lonely path. So this is talking about what's coming after this eclipse for you. Because, you know, by September especially, things are really going to start to get good for Scorpio. Don't forget, too, you're going to integrate the lessons slowly once your nodal axis ends. And like within a year of the nodal axis ending, there's so much empowerment. It's crazy. Crazy, I tell you. Okay. For my Scorpios. There will be times when the solitude feels blissful. The sensation of the air, the scent of the bud, the song of the bird, the wisdom of the trees, and the knowledge of the steady earth beneath your feet. When you are so full of the song of the world, you become one with the rhapsody of life as your soul flows forth from the small space in which it once was contained. What once felt like sanctuary, more like shelter. What once was a void has now become a world overflowing with delight and discovery. What once was darkness is now filled with stars. These precious insights may never have been seen or felt or understood had you not been in isolation for a time. These are the gifts here on the lonely path. Receive them, be open to them, and make them yours. I'm sure you're sick of lessons, Scorpio. And now it's not about lessons anymore. Now it's about just allowing the things to leave that you felt attachment to, that you felt owed you loyalty, that you may have let linger in your life with that fixed energy because it felt like a loss to lose something that was hurting you. Because that self-deprecation of Scorpio sometimes runs right into almost feeling like they're supposed to be a little tortured. They're used to the bump on the head, that you can acclimate to somebody unkind, disloyal, and unhealthy in your life because you felt such an attachment to them that losing them now feels like you're losing them to someone else or something else, or something in you wasn't good enough. Or, you like to press the bruise to know you're alive. So you have somebody there that just stings at you a little bit. So you know you're alive. And if you're listening, I want to give you permission to let universe take the fucking trash out, Scorpio. Let it happen. You're not losing. It's their loss, but it's going to make room for things that are better for you. And instead of feeling like you need to press the bruise, or stay with somebody that's been advised to make sure you're giving them a little wound or a little sting to keep them interested, that drives me crazy. Please don't listen to anyone that tells you to make sure you keep nipping at a Scorpio to keep their attention. That's fucking terrible. Reach out to people. I know a Scorpio that walks out and hands out hamburgers to homeless people. There are plenty of wounds in this world that we can see and experience that it's easier to look away from. And if you take the energy that makes you feel like you align with pain, you can exercise that out of your body. You can release that through the smallest acts of interacting with the outskirts, the outliers of society, of good society. You can interact with where no one else wants to look. And let that be how you scratch the itch of understanding what it feels like to experience pain, transformation, or feeling like life gave up on you. So this is just what it is. Go do something small, 3 hours a month, something, so that you can interact with that darkness. The darkness no one else wants to look at. You go be the light in somebody else's darkness so that you don't have to hold it within yourself because you feel like you're supposed to be tortured. I love you, now you love you, Scorpio. That's what I have to say about that. Good night, Adva. Hi, Sparklemint. I hope you got the email with the gift certificate. Hi, Odette. All right, let's Sagittarius. See? Odette walks in the room. Juan, Norm, I'm not wrong. What's first or 12th Neptune? I'm not sure. It's probably a conversation that has nothing to do with me. Sagittarius. Ooh, Sagittarius is like, will not give me one card. It's giving me... Hi, universe, spirits, and guides. Hi. Okay. May I please get a card? Maybe I needed to separate from Scorpio's energy for a second. Woof. About that. I'm going to call back all my power to me now from anyone using it with or without my permission. I invite all of you to say that right now. As we are ending up Scorpio's energy, I want everyone to say to themselves, I call back all of my power to me now. I call back all of my power from anyone using it with or without my permission. and see if you don't feel something physically. You should do that every day. It's amazing when I forget to do it for a couple of days and I do it, I feel it. I call back all of my power to me now from anyone using it with or without my permission. It's really important too to get good sleep, especially if you're you're connected to one person, especially if you're connected to somebody in crisis, just so your body can get rest so that you're ready again the next day to share your energy in a healthy way and that you don't get drained, especially during, transits like this. Okay, so now I got one card for Sagittarius. They're all pretty cards, but let's get. Okay, Saggies, 9th house, and for whomever this resonates. And if you're having this full moon in your 9th or 3rd house access. You are learning the joy, it's the lonesome gardener. You are learning the joy of tending to something wild until it can become something giving and warm, just as you are now. Your care and attention have given something new, the space to grow and to become abundant. This is now reflected in your soul. Look within and see what you have helped nurture in the world is now growing within you. Where all once felt barren and unknown, there is fertility and connection. You turned away from the voice of the world and listened instead to the wisdom of the growing world. Because of that, all is blossoming and rich and verdant once again. You have made the wasteland a paradise. You have sown the seeds from which blessings can now come forth. When that Mars was in Gemini for so long, it was opposing Sagittarius. And when we have Saturn going in and out before it was leaving Aquarius, as it was, I was getting a channeled message. Before it was, when it was moving into Saturn, that was also it felt like, okay, nothing's going on in Sagittarius, but you had all that squaring energy and opposing energy of both malefics, Sagittarius. Sagittarius wants to be the cockeyed optimist, And so you may have gotten subtly sideswiped, sucker punched, because one malefic was opposing you for a very long time. And then there was a really kind of funky ingress during a month where so much was happening. That Saturn into Pisces squaring you. It's so now it is the time to trust yourself. There's no other way to say that. It might have felt like too much all at once. And trusting yourself instead of making sure everyone was okay or avoiding conflict. Conflict was there. You didn't create the conflict. Mars and Gemini for 7 months opposing your placements created conflict. You didn't go looking for it. You didn't create it. You're not responsible for it. But avoiding it can be exhausting. So now it's time to just look within and trust yourself especially with the malefics, the way they were and the way they are. You have Saturn squaring now for another 2 years. So it is really time to look within and trust yourself. And don't worry about conflict. We know you didn't go looking for it, Sagittarius. But it's okay. You're still lovable if you deal with it once it's presented, once it comes to your doorstep. Good night, Teresa. Thank you again for everything. And I still have to do that post. I got awful sick Sunday night. I didn't feel great Saturday into Sunday afternoon, but Sunday night I just got awful sick, and I meant to put up the thing with the businesses, and I still will do that. Let's pull for Capricorn. I'm still going to give away a reading at the end. And I know it's no, actually I won't even talk about that until it gets closer. Okay. Capricorn. Talk about malefics, and you had Capricorn you had Pluto for so long, and then you had Pluto and Saturn at the same time. You had Pluto Saturn conjunct, which, thank God, Aquarius, it'll take quite a bit of time, because Pluto is in Aquarius for so long. We will see a Saturn Pluto conjunction again. But not for a long time. What is going on? Capricorn, goat turquoise, white horns, goat turquoise, white horns. Am I supposed to say that fast? I'll have what he's having. What does that mean? Corn of the cap. Capricorn, goat turquoise, white horns. Goat turquoise, white horns. What? I'm missing something, but I am happy to be the court jester until I figure it out. I can't see his emojis. I must not. I'm going to screenshot this so you all see what I see. I just thought I will have whatever kind of brownies he's munching on, whatever kind of edibles you have. I will post that later because it's effing hilarious. Okay. You took a word. Oh, okay, good. Great. Thought you were sending me some kind of code to send help or send cake or send goats. I wasn't sure. All right. Blink twice. Oh God, I think that's the hardest I laughed possibly all week, except for the stuff that Emily says. Capricorn, a time to rest a while. The whole world is sleeping, and this is when some of your most sacred work is done, in dreams, in the cocoon you create as you separate from the exterior and enter deeply into the divine universe that dwells within you. Enough time has been spent out there. Now it is time to restore, regenerate, to recreate, and reweave the inner world, that sanctuary, the memory place, and the beautiful grove where all true healing takes place. While the world of nature is resting, you too must return to the deep for the phase of this cycle of life. Soon you will return, renewed, re-energized, and transformed. Till then, slumber and dream, sweet child of the blessed planet. So what I hear immediately is you've taken care of others all your life, almost in a feverish hustle, in a feverish pressure. And it's time for you to let others find a way. It's time for you to let others do their own work to fix themselves. Because I say this all the time, and I got so many comments after we did Capricorn. My voice is starting to go. When we did Capricorn for the Progressed Moon series, I either got emails or there's comments, and it's overwhelming of like how Capricorn was described. I will say this. I think Capricorns are humanitarians. But they go about it in a way where they feel like they're so aware of how fleeting and how fragile time is. And so they kind of rush around, right, with that feverish pressure to they're not just taking care of themselves. They're not just amassing wealth and status. They are trying to leave the world different. And whether for a few here and there that you may think that's out of ego, sometimes, okay, sure. But it feels like such a calling and such a mission. And when you start to get hard on Capricorns, non-Capricornians out there, I want you to remember Betty White is a Capricorn and Dolly Parton is a Capricorn. That's all. I rest on that. They are here to change the world. They really, really are. And sometimes their intention of that is so fueled by what their childhood was like, depends on their other placements. It's misinterpreted and it's seen as, I'm better than all of you. And it's not. It's, I want to leave this world better. Sometimes you can just rest. Because I know you're so aware of there's not enough time, right? There's not enough money and time to change the world the way that I want to change it, to help the people I want to help, to make sure the people that I love have stability. But while you're so worried about the legacy you leave, make sure that you're stopping and resting and taking care of your body and your health, quite frankly. Take the pressure off. Well, I don't know that Elvis Presley, to me, does not stand in the category of Miss Dolly Parton. Like, I'm a keep her safe at all measures. Dolly Parton is a national treasure, in my humble opinion. Good night, Maricela. Hello, Spartacus. So happy to see you here. We are on to Aquarius. And then we will do Pisces. And then I will give away half an hour reading. Please be extra safe if you're going someplace, Maricela. I hate that Cinco de Mayo happens to be on a full moon during Mercury retrograde eclipse with Uranus. I really wish people would stay home tonight, but I get it. It's Cinco de Mayo. Please be safe. God, take Ubers and make sure your Ubers drivers are sober. What candle am I using? I have a bunch because I have them at all. I don't want to lift them right now because I would burn my hands. They've been burning. But I have a lilac crown chakra candle going and a blue throat chakra candle. They unfortunately didn't burn evenly. So this one should have 3 wicks and it has 1. I have them. I have to replenish. That's something I should probably put on my Amazon wish list. And then I usually pick off at my Amazon wish list also. But I'm out of yellow, red, and orange. And right now I have blue, green, and purple. I think that's it. Yeah. But I light so many candles. I have to do like the jar candles. Hi, Dora. In New Orleans. That's great. Okay. Aquarius. I keep singing to our new little rescue soul. You know how it goes. You name them something and then they get like 20 other names. So between singing Sweet Thing from Shaka Khan and then calling her Shaka Khan, and I keep singing the song from Oliver. I'd do anything for you, dear, anything. Which is so weird. But she brings out like really old songs for me, but I have to get a picture of her up. She's got such a wise ancient face. We have no idea how old she is. She was in such bad condition. The vet couldn't even tell me. But I'll get pictures of her up soon. She was up all night with me last night, so she's sleeping right now. Aquarius, your little island. And this is also great for 11th house. And if you're having this full moon in the 11th, 5th house axis. There are times when we only know who we are thus far in relation to the ways other people experience us to be. I'm going to read that again. There are times when we only know who we are thus far in relation to the ways other people experience us to be. In the true knowing of ourselves, in the true unfurling of our potentials, we must step outside relationship with others from time to time to create a relationship with ourselves. This is not loneliness. This is true deep work of the becoming self, of the beckoning yearning to know the world on your own terms. So Aquarius. Even simply through the senses, take time away from others and the ways others control who you are. Become an island. Offer that alone time to your deepest self and experience the world through the unfiltered truth of the self you are still becoming. I love that card. And I say this all the time, and I have a TikTok video about it. But the reason that an advisor of any kind might advise you to not relationship jump, to spend a little time alone, it's that it's harder to get a real sense of us if we're only experiencing us through the perception of others and their trauma responses and their lenses and their filters, which interpret us different. And then we're adjusting who we are to the feedback of the person we care about the most, which is this partner. And so when we spend a little time alone, we kind of get to know who we are without the feedback of others, without constantly looking in at ourselves through the reflection of another's eyes, because they're going to have, like in My Cousin Vinny, when the lady says, well, through the years, my glasses just get thicker and thicker. Depending on how old somebody is and how much healing they've done, the lenses of which that they are looking and responding and experiencing you and reflecting and responding in their feedback is through many, many layers of their own experiences, their own belief system about themselves, their own journey, their own level of healing. So it's not a completely authentic, unfiltered review of you. And if you're only reviewing yourself through what you're experiencing somebody else's experience of you to be, it's going to delay that place when we really understand who we are and how we uncover the layers that we need to heal. So we can live in the most inner peace as possible. Good night, alien. She's a sweetie. She's rehabbing from life, from her experiences. She was out on the street for a while and had some bumps and bruises. So we're just giving her as much love as possible. She's funny, though. She's like a dog. So if I call her right now, she might come. So let me call her before we do Pisces and before we do the giveaway. Sadie. Hi, sweet girl, Sadie. Hi, sweet friend. Sadie. Now we'll give it a minute. We'll see if she shows up. We were just calling her sweet friend for a day before we knew whether we got to keep her or not, if she was going to be chipped or belong to somebody or whatever. So sweet friend is one of the names she gets called still. She may be out like a light in her little pink cat house that is in my bedroom, but we'll see. Oof. All right, Pisces, and then don't forget, I'm going to give away a reading when we're done with Pisces. Last time we were in here, she was so used to being fed every 5 minutes because she was still in panic of being starved that she came in here and yelled at me. But she's much calmer this week. And not in so much panic. I said to my daughter the other night, it's like a baby when they sleep through the night the first time. You panic. You wake up in a panic. I don't care who you are. If you've had a baby that cried a lot and woke up in the middle of the night, and then one night they just didn't, you wake up in a cold sweat. Oh my God, something happened. What's wrong? Because they actually slept through the night. And so when she's not bugging me for food, I'm literally worrying now. And probably the vet's like, lady, stop calling. You've had cats your whole life and you're old. Quit it. There we go. Pisces, 12th house placements. And for whomever this resonates, this is for you. Honor your holy days. Acknowledging our sacred days carves out a sure pattern within our lives. Without sign or symbol, we can feel a loss of a meaning or lose a sense of where we are in the world, especially with those cotton candy walls, Pisces. Most often, these celebrations are observed with beloved others, but there are times when these holy days will come and we will see no one at all by our sides. So you will go alone to the sacred place, carve out the sign, and offer yourself so much love. All this will ensure that you feel valued beyond measure. The time to celebrate alongside kin and clan will come again. For now, honor the changing of the seasons, the counting of the days, and the light of the days and dark. And reverently observe the turning of the wheel in time. In solitude, the soul will enter into the pure unity with the spirit. I want to say it's June 30th. I'm going to double check that for you all. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's look at, I want to say it's June 30th, but let me not. I will double check. Neptune goes retrograde June 30th. So it's really interesting when Neptune goes retrograde, what happens is Neptune is fog, right? It can be deception, it can be delusion, it can also be unconditional love. It is without boundaries. And depending on the kind of energy we have, Neptune can add optimism somewhat. It can add delusions of grandeur, and it can add paranoia, but it's fog. And then what flavors that fog is where we're at in our energy, and then the other aspects in our chart. The interesting thing is that when Neptune goes retrograde, and Neptune indeed is in Pisces, in its ancient ruler, its ancient ruler is Jupiter, but in its modern ruler, it dissipates the fog, oddly enough. So that is the one retrograde where the fog disappears. When that happens for Pisces, there's going to be so much clarity. There's going to be a lot of clarity. Shortly after, we will go into the shadow of the Venus retrograde in Leo, but that'll be in conjunct Pisces. The understanding of how, I think people are hard on Pisces sometimes and make them feel like they're not steady enough, they're not stable enough. But the understanding of your role and how much people need you is going to be very clear. Very clear. And you may even have people that you weren't sure how they felt, or you were convincing yourself in that Neptunian fog that they didn't care about you or they didn't respect you. You may have somebody come out and finally speak truth, or clarify where there was not clarity. And I am really, really excited for Pisces placements and people who will be affected. Everybody will be affected, kind of, truth comes out. Truth is revealed. The fog that, what happens when the fog goes away, we can see more clearly. People who make you feel like you need them, they won't be able to do that at that time. Pay attention after June 30th, especially for Pisces. You'll see the mask coming off. Anyone who tries to make you feel like you need them more than they need you, you'll see it. Good night, Gibbs. And I'm going to give away a reading right now. I would love to answer questions, but I would be remiss in extending my energy to anyone right now, because you see my eyes kind of closed. Like I start like this and I end up like this. It is time. And this week has been rough. So that's how I decided I was going to do this. I could talk about the astrology and I could read Into the Woods in a very nurturing, warm, like quiet, intimate space. But I did not have enough energy to do the 12 signs. And I want to thank everyone again, because Samantha was so amazing last week. And that's really hard to do. And you were all so supportive. And by all means, if you want to send any messages to her or give her any feedback, you can email me and I will send it along to her. But I just want to say again, that was great. And if anybody wants to be next as a guest reader, you can do 10 minutes, you can do 5 minutes. I won't care. I just want to give you baby steps into trying it out if you feel like you're called to that, or you just want to try it out. And if you do it for 2 minutes and you're like, this is not for me, there's no pressure. There's no, I will just carry on. I am going to write something on a piece of paper. Let me see what Spirit gives me. So if you want to tap into my energy now, if you're interested in winning the reading. Okay. Never done this before, but this feels like what I want to do. I wrote it in script. I should probably write it. Here we go. Okay, so I just wrote the word of the picture that they showed me. It's food related and it's on the sweet side. It's just one word. I know this is like really, really unconventional, but I would call this kind of more of a flavor. And I just want to see, and I'm even surprised at what I got from Spirit, but that's what they told me. That's what they showed me, actually. So tap into my energy. You're guessing a flavor. And it's not savory. I did not know what the word was going to be. It's funny that you're guessing peach. It's not. It's a flavor. It's not an item. It's a flavor. It's not peach. Venus energy 22. And I wrote it down so y'all could see it as chocolate. Cole, so close. Venus was right before you. I was surprised because usually my brain would go to something far more complicated, but they showed me like a bar of chocolate, like chocolates that you would melt to use for something. I wasn't even sure that it was going to be a food thing. I just told Spirit to give me a picture and it was chocolate. So Venusian energy. I'm always calling you Venus energy. Venusian energy 22 email me and I will send you your little winning gift certificate so you can book. You won't hear from me till tomorrow because usually on a Friday night it's lights out Sally. As soon as I'm done. It was a flavor. Red velvet is one of my favorites though, shorty. I am shocked myself that normally if I would have picked a flavor, I would have picked something, like amaretto. So congratulations to Venus energy. Thank you all for staying so long. For Venusian energy, thank you. And Cole was so close. Oh, so close. And so next week, outgoing announcements. Next week, I'm just gonna schedule a free questions, just to give back and say thank you all. Especially because I was terrible in keeping up and doing videos and finishing the month. I think I only got like halfway through. I think I only got to Capricorn. I still needed to do like 5 more signs. So I'll do them because it'll be whatever. But I'm just going to do this week just to answer questions. And I will schedule that. I believe this Sunday we are on to do the 4th part of the progressed moon with my lovely Connie Jo Skywalker. So that would be a Skywalker evolutionary video. If you don't catch the live, I've decided I'm going to make it not public right after the live ends so that I can just edit it quick and timestamp it and then get it back up as a reading. But that probably, if you didn't see it when it's live, it'll come off and then go back up probably Monday night because YouTube needs to process it to make sure that I'm not saying horrible, terrible things. And then they let me have it so I can download it and edit it. Otherwise, I don't have access to it. So I can just only take it off public before then. The other thing is, if you guys can, if you're interested in those classes, to just let you know, like, things that how you can get started in doing your own side hustles, starting your own spiritual business, but any business, everything that's run by like social media. I just want to help people get started because I get asked that so many times where people are like, what links are good? Or so I'm just going to do a class. I'm just charging $2 just so that people show up so that they invest $2. Just so that they show up. I will have a limit on that class. It's all set up. I just have to post it. But a Sunday isn't going to happen now because we're backed up in the other things that we have planned to do. And I want to save the last Sunday in June for like a birthday giveaway thing. So rather than stall that class anymore, I want to know if like a Saturday morning works, or just give me some other suggestions if Saturday morning really doesn't work. And again, it'll be recorded and available later that day anyway. Just won't be able to ask questions during it, but you'll be able to see other people ask questions. So if there's something, maybe somebody else will ask the question. And just please be really kind to yourself during this full moon. Please, please, please. Just get through it. Don't put pressure on yourself. And don't start anything new if you can until after the 13th when Mercury goes direct again. Yeah. And be careful of people in your DMs asking you what you're wearing at 11 o'clock at night. That's, probably not somebody who has the wherewithal to go the distance in the way that you deserve during Mercury retrograde. Oh, Karen, you were a little bit behind. Oh yeah, and there's my website. I'm terrible. Yeah, I take appointments. If you want to make an appointment, I have 15-minute appointments. I have 90-minute appointments. You can do phone, you can do virtual. Oh, we'll have to do a happy birthday. I love you back. Yeah, my website, Lee just posted. It's just SuzzyEvolutionary.com. This week I have to catch up to everything that I had fever for 3 days. So like my eyes weren't even working. I got behind on everything. But yeah, this week I'm just going to do an easy peasy. That's the easiest thing for me to do, is go live and just engage with you all. So I will do that this week. I will schedule that and put the timestamps up when we are off from here. I love you. Know you love you. And I will see you hopefully all on Sunday with Connie Joe. Okay? Good night, everybody. Happy Cinco. And for anyone who celebrated yesterday, may the 4th be with you. Or the 1st be with you if you just want to go watch Pride and Prejudice and drool over Colin Firth. I will post my picture of Colin Firth with a lightsaber, which is my favorite thing in the whole wide world because I'm a giant nerd. All right. Bye, everyone.